We must all make sacrifices for the good of Innistrad. Sorin Markov, flavor text of Barter in Blood. Thousands of years ago, on the dark world of Innistrad, an aging alchemist by the name of Edgar Markov was experimenting, searching for a way to achieve eternal life. A harsh famine had gripped the land, disease and starvation had spread, and each day death grew closer for the withered Markov. He turned to darker and more depraved methods, eventually even experimenting with blood. In desperation, Edgar Markov would turn to dealing with the abominable. He would enter into a pact with the demon Shulgengar, and together they created a formula, one that would transform men into monsters. The concoction he wished to create required a deed of unimaginable evil. Markov would trap a living angel within the confines of his laboratory and drain her of all her divine blood. With this final ingredient, Edgar Markov was able to turn himself into the first of Innistrad's vampires, creating a new race of immortals that fed on the blood of the innocent. Elated at having finally achieved his greatest dream, Edgar would share his gift of immortality with his only grandson, the young Sorin. However, the transformation from mortal to vampire was traumatic, enough so that it ignited Sorin's latent spark. He ascended as a godlike planeswalker and would depart from Innistrad. In Sorin's absence, the world of Innistrad changed. Vampires grew in number and ferocity, and they, alongside a burgeoning werewolf population, were now a threat to all human life on the plane. It would be centuries before Sorin would ever truly return to Innistrad. He witnessed the growing vampire race hunting down and devouring humanity in excess, and realized that if this process were allowed to continue, humanity would be driven to extinction. With humanity gone, nothing would remain to feed his vampire brethren. Cannibalism and infighting would grow, and all life on the plane would eventually cease. Sorin saw this impending annihilation and took steps to ensure the survival of both vampires and mankind on Innistrad. Not only would he seek to create a system of balance on the world, Sorin desired to protect Innistrad itself from threats beyond in the blind eternities. In a chamber underneath what would become Thraben Cathedral, Sorin conducted an arcane ritual that would forever change Innistrad. He would weave together white mana to create a divine protector, an angel of unparalleled might. This was no easy task. Creating such a powerful being proved draining even to a godlike planeswalker. The process itself involved in her creation must have been complex and delicate. Sorin named his creation Avacyn, and gave her the task of defending not only the humans of Innistrad, but the world itself from the darkness beyond. To aid her in this task, Markov would take a piece of the world's silver moon and construct an artifact known as the Helvault. Within this silver prison, Sorin intended to lock away the dangers that would threaten his home. Avacyn and the Helvault did not wait long before they were put to use. another planeswalker would arrive on Innistrad shortly after their creation. Nahiri, a lithomancer and acquaintance of Sorin. Alongside Ugin, the spirit dragon, these two helped to seal away the Eldrazi on the distant world of Zendikar, and Sorin swore an oath to return should the World Eaters ever break loose from their prison. Nahiri felt betrayed by Sorin, who did not return when the time came, and a battle broke out between these two godlike beings. This conflict ended with Nahiri being the first prisoner of the Helvault, and Avacyn being able to begin her work. The effect of Sorin's angel on Innistrad was immediate and immense. She had a power, a confidence to her actions, that caused even other angels to rally under her banner. Avacyn was, perhaps, the most powerful being on Innistrad, and it seemed as though nothing was her equal. Sorin's angel became known as an aspect of the Silver Moon, a source of lunar power embodying the holy light that shines even in the dark of night. A church quickly sprang up and organized underneath her. Humans would raise banners bearing her symbol, and prayers to this new angel became commonplace. Avacyn was more than just a protector of humanity. She was, for all intents and purposes, their god. Her very existence emboldened and empowered her worshippers. The Avacynian Church was an institute that now existed across all the towns and villages of the known world, and daily life became so intertwined with this church that it was practically synonymous with civilization itself. The city of Thraben was the seat of authority for Avacyn's church. Here the bishops of the church sat in council underneath the Lunarch, the highest position a human could receive on the world. The church employed priests in their towns and villages, helping to keep the order, and monks would travel the countryside, aiding those they could. However, these holy men were more often than not merely protectors of the innocent. The church would also make use of an order of holy warriors known as Cathars, while priests and monks would work to defend the people of the world. These Cathars instead would take the fight to the monsters. Wielding holy power provided by the Archangel, these Cathars would seek out and hunt down the various enemies of humanity. The Cathars had several orders, and each was an expert in their own field of monster slaying. The world of Innistrad was changing, and Avacyn stood at the head of a movement that would see the balance of the world kept safe. Underneath Avacyn herself, 4 angelic sisters helped to shepherd and safeguard humanity. These angels existed long before the Archangel was created, but rallied under her, admiring her just as the humans admired them. The sisters, Sigarda, Bruna, Gisela, and Lieza, were each tasked with leading a group of angels, known as a flight, to carry out various specialized tasks. These 4 sisters, alongside Avacyn, would help to protect humanity from the nightmares that sought to consume it, and together they worked to achieve the vision of Sorin Markov, Innistrad, held in harmonious balance. One day, however, 1,000 years before the Mending, Avacyn would come to learn that one of these angelic sisters, Lieza, had begun consorting with demons. Lieza argued that in order to best defeat their enemies, they must know their enemies. Avacyn was unconvinced. When Lieza entered into a pact with a demon lord, Avacyn declared the act to be an utter heresy. She single-handedly destroyed Lieza, as well as her host of angels, for the sin of consorting with demons. Avacyn declared Lieza's name was henceforth forbidden, and that she would never again be spoken of. Avacyn and her church worked dutifully to safeguard mankind over the centuries. The power of the church grew to the point where the Archangel herself would often only intervene when dealing with particularly powerful demons, which she would seal away within the Helvault. Over the years, one by one, more and more of Innistrad's demons were locked away within their silver prison. The vampires and werewolves were pushed back, and a balance was secured on the plane. However, no matter how much the church pushed back against the horrors of the night, the nightmares were never truly gone. Avacyn, you see, was not created to slay the vampires. She was created to maintain a balance between humanity and the monsters that feasted upon them. Avacyn could hear the prayers of mortals. She could answer their pleas, and she could even empathize with them on some level. Avacyn was their guardian, but she was made by Sorin to keep humanity at a sustainable level so that his vampire kin would not be driven to cannibalism and extinction. She maintained a balance, but was unwittingly aiding in the continued survival of the vampire race by safeguarding their food source. Still, it was a balance she maintained with good intentions, and a balance that would come to an end. Of all the ancient and terrible demons plaguing Innistrad, most seem to be locked away within the Helvault. One, however, remained, one mighty enough to rival Avacyn herself. This vile demon was named Griselbrand, and he would challenge the Archangel to combat. These two did battle in a clash that had dire consequences for the world. Avacyn pushed Griselbrand towards the Helvault to make him yet another prisoner in her silver jail, and it looked as though she were succeeding. However, at the last moment, the demon was able to grab a hold of the angel. Avacyn now was being pulled into the Helvault alongside her foe. The cage of silver closed around them, and Innistrad went silent. The current Lunarch, Mikaeus, as well as a handful of others, were the only witnesses to this horrible event. They decided, rather than sow fear in the populace, that they would keep silent about what happened that night and go on as if their angel were still among them. With Avacyn trapped within the Helvault, the holy magic empowered by her began to wane. Spells of protection grew weaker, and the people would begin to lose their resolve. Once again, like it had been so long ago, the darkness crept forth from the vile corners of the world. Vampires grew bolder, and werewolves became more daring. Humanity was in jeopardy. As the power of the church diminished, and the Cathars grew thin, the vampires of Innistrad began to hunt with increased vigor. Mankind began to despair, wondering what had become of their holy guardian. Even other angels, it seemed, gave in to sorrow, and the world grew more bleak by the day. It was then that the ailing world would receive a visitor. The planeswalker Liliana Vess had come to Innistrad, seeking to locate Grizzlebrand. She would come to learn that the demon was sealed within the Helvault, and wove a spell to free him. Liliana could not break the Helvault herself, but her spell allowed another, the Cathar Thalia, to perform the deed. Liliana threatened the Guardian of Thraben, offering her the choice of either breaking the Helvault or dooming the soldiers under her command. Thalia, in the end, chose to destroy the Helvault, freeing those countless monsters imprisoned within, and at the same time, releasing Avacyn. While the other prisoners of the Helvault fled, Avacyn found herself free once again, and her worshippers found themselves reinvigorated. The holy magic of the priests was empowered, the angels were emboldened, and the people were once again able to strike back against the evils of their world. With Avacyn's return came what was known as the Curse Mute, a series of spells weaved by the Archangel that nullified the curse of lycanthropy which hung over the world. Werewolves that were willing were turned into the heroic Wolfir, and some were even able to return to their families. But the joy of the Archangel's freedom would soon turn bittersweet. While destroying the Helvault did free the angel and the demons held within, it also freed another, the ancient core planeswalker Nahiri. Though she initially fled Innistrad upon her release, she would soon return, harboring a grudge against Sorin and seeking to bring ruin to all he held dear. Not long after her return, Avacyn would find her mind changed, distorted. The whispers of nightmares lurked ever in the corners of her thoughts, and she began to see mankind for what it was: twisted, corrupted, vile. This was the work of Nahiri, who drew the Eldrazi titan Emrakul to Innistrad. While the magic Avacyn embodied prevented the Eldrazi from fully appearing on the world, Emrakul's corruptive presence still had an effect on the angel. Avacyn was going mad. It was not long before the angel saw those she once protected, the humans she once cherished and defended, as nothing more than monsters that needed to be purged. The Archangel began a cleansing of the world, leading several crusades of fire and violence against the innocent population of Innistrad. Many other angels, and even members of the Church, would also succumb to this madness, and followed Avacyn with violent zeal, destroying all within their grasp. Avacyn, a being created to defend the mortals of Innistrad, was now becoming their greatest threat. She acted to save mankind from itself, burning and purging all she surveyed. Sorin Markov would not let this stand. Though the vampire planeswalker wished to first deal with Nahiri, he could not stand by as his creation wrought such destruction. Sorin would confront Avacyn, as well as a host of her angels, in the Cathedral of Thraben. Initially, Sorin attempted to reason with his angel, trying to convince her to enter the vault in which he created her. Avacyn would attempt to attack the vampire, but found that she could not. Sorin revealed to Avacyn the mad, that she could not harm him, for he had created her. Avacyn's angels attacked, but Markov was more powerful than any of them, and left their bodies strewn about the church floor. Avacyn, in a flash of realization, concluded Sorin's creation of her had caused a great deal of suffering and destruction, and that he was the source of evil. Avacyn and Sorin clashed, and their battle brought them crashing beneath the floor. Here, in the place she was created, Sorin again attempted to reason with his angel, to let him heal her, but she rebuked him.
If I am not the daughter you want, then we must battle again and again, forever.
The Archangel refused to become a tool of a monster, and taunted Sorin to imprison her. But Sorin could not create another Helvault, and Avacyn was not as invulnerable as she believed. Realizing Avacyn could not be saved, Sorin turned away from his creation, pointing only his sword at the angel. He uttered ancient words, calling on a spell last uttered over 1,000 years prior. Markov revoked the gift he had given to the world, undid the spells that formed his greatest creation, and Avacyn was no more. With the death of the Archangel, the final piece of protection hovering over Innistrad was no more, and the Eldrazi Titan Emrakul was finally able to fully manifest into the world, although that is a story for another time. Avacyn has had 3 separate incarnations over the years, but I feel the best version to talk about is the original, Avacyn, Angel of Hope. This card perfectly displays Avacyn as one of the mightiest angels to ever exist in the multiverse. An impressive 8 power and toughness, alongside flying, vigilance, and an ability that makes all your permanents indestructible, all make this a powerhouse card. Avacyn Guardian Angel and Archangel Avacyn are both pretty unique cards as well, but I say there's nothing that outshines the original. Sadly, it's likely we'll be getting no new Avacyn cards in the future. Sorin no longer possesses the ability to create her, so the Archangel's chances of returning are slim. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like or sharing this video with your friends. If you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, you'll be alerted whenever I upload new videos. While you're here, why not go and check out one of my other lore videos? Finally, if you have a suggestion for a character or event you'd like me to cover, feel free to let me know in the comments section below. Thanks again, and have a great day.